All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 295. Today is the 8th of July, 2020. And this is the episode where people are sad that the 4th of July specials are over. But we got some good news for you guys. And we are going to keep the good times rolling here. We're going to get into the questions. I think we've already got a ton on the page. But real quick, we're going to take a minute, say hi to everybody. And we got a couple quick announcements. So I'll start at the bottom today on my screen. And we'll go with Chris. How you doing, man?
Doing good here. Summer weather is in full force, and yeah, things are pretty good. Cool. The only thing that is not that lovely is that I gotta go back and wear some masks again here. So
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, better safe than sorry. I won't go more on that subject. I just had someone sending me something about like, can you believe it? They might cancel the football games. I was like, yeah, you're not kidding me in a friggin' stadium.
You're welcome.
Anyways. All right, Marco, how you doing today?
Is Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, man.
Groundhog Day.
Hands out.
Must be a screen. Must be a screen.
A screen
in the background. I can't help it. This is Costa Rica, guys. This is it. This is the real deal. You're seeing it week to week, and you're gonna see it for a year. Then I'm turning the damn camera off because I hate being on camera. It's one of the things that I like least is being on camera. Just I don't know, it's just not enjoyable. It's kind of distracting, right? To me, if this is my workstation, then I need to work. So it'll be removed after a year of you guys seeing paradise.
Very nice.
Oh, and by the way, I posted again some results in the for you guys watching. Questioning the methods. I hear also, I heard recently, well, since RYS methods got slapped by Google, what are you guys doing? All kinds of different stuff. And we got slapped, and I go in and look at the results, and I post results, and it's better than last week. You can follow it. I mean, you can just go, it's in our free group. It's there. I post it for you. Those are results week to week. So last week, there were 304, 306 calls, I think it was. This week, it's 366. So it's going back 28 days. So over 28 days, client got 366 calls. I think client is happy. Just from the GMB, mind you. That's the click to call. That's not including what he's getting on the website, not including form fills, not including all the other stuff that's going on. Guy's going to make so much. I told you guys, I'm upset. I should be hitting myself in the head with a hammer because I didn't think that I should do the percentage based agreement. It's a per call agreement, which is still really, trust me, it's really sweet. But it would have been so much better if I had done the 10 to 15% that we often do. Right? We often talk about that when you deal with a client and you can establish that trust. I didn't know this guy all that well. It was a recommendation, so I had to go on a per call. And now he doesn't want to change the deal, of course. So anyway, guys, go watch. It's in the free group. It's there for you. It's in the heavy hitter free. It's in all of Semantic Mastery groups. It's on my page in Facebook. Go see the results for yourself. And if you're wondering how we did it, it's MGYB. Everything is there. I'm not using anything different than what we teach and what we offer. First of all, what we teach in our courses and what we offer in MGYB is what we use. We have a Dedia. We have a team of very capable VAs. Even the keyword research was done by the keyword research VA. I mean, why wouldn't I use the things? I mean, we set these things up for ourselves to get results ourselves, right? Then that's after we've proven that they work, we offer them to you guys so you can make it work for you and you can go make money. Now, whether you do it, that's not my problem. It's up to you to take that step and then go do how you do. You don't have to do it the way I do, but do something. I'll leave it at that.
Good to go. And Wayne, I haven't seen Wayne on Hump Day Hangouts in a while. He just said RYS Reloaded is setting the standards by which all other copycats get judged. Haters gonna hate. Outstanding. All right, Hernan, how you doing today?
Good, man. Good. I'm happy. I just wanted to thanks everyone that were supporting Semantic Mastery and MGYB during our sale. You guys are awesome. So thank you for that. Thank you for those of you guys that took advantage, that took the the discounts and everything. We were doing a pretty big discounts on both MGYB and Semantic Mastery. So thank you for that. And regarding what Marco was saying about percentage deals, we might be talking about that at some point. Adam specifically, my man Adam right there. He might be talking about he will be talking about a percentage-wise deal. So that's going to be pretty cool. More to come because we have some good stuff coming up.
Outstanding. Definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, Hernan's got some more info on that. But last but certainly not least, Bradley, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. I was just mentioning to you guys when we first got on before going live that I've got like several SEO projects starting, 2 of which I talked about last week are going to be public case studies. I actually secured, I've determined the locations. One is going to be Pompano Beach, Florida, which is like the Fort Lauderdale area, and in Broward County, very, very competitive. And then another one in Richmond, Virginia, both tree service sites or lead gen sites. So I'm starting on that, but I've got like multiple other projects I'm just getting started on. I've gotten away from doing a whole lot of site builds, but recently I've just got a lot of work that's come in, which is interesting. One of our mastermind members had asked, how everybody's dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic, and all this stuff with client work and agency work. And it's interesting, but I've had some, I had a handful of clients suspend services when this happened, depending on the business industry. In the last couple of weeks, I've landed several, 2 tree service clients, as well as several lead gen like buyers and other lead buyers, tree service lead buyers. So, it just depends, I guess, on the industries, guys. There's still a lot of business going on out there. So don't let that stop you from going out and, doing what you got to do to make money. So anyways, excited.
Yeah, I will second that. There was the post in the mastermind. I forget, it was either a new member. I apologize. I forget who it was, but asking about, how things are going. And like, I definitely saw it too, like not trying to hide anything. I had 3 clients. I generally work with 3 to 5. At any given time, I had 3 when coronavirus hit, and I lost 2 within a week. And it made sense. Like I was like, yeah, this totally makes sense. I'm not trying to like get them back. But ever since that point, it's been busier. It seems like I'm definitely getting more inbound, and it's just gotten busier and busier. So kind of been an interesting turn of events that we'll see how it goes.
There are plenty of businesses who actually finally made the plunge and moved online.
Yeah.
So tons of work.
Yeah, and there's work where you don't always expect it. This may seem obvious to everyone else, but I had a travel company reach out to me, and like that just blew me away at first, because I was like, "Are you sure you want to talk to me? Like, here's kind of what I do. Here's what I charge. Are we on the same page?" And they said, "Yeah, let's talk." Because they're like, "Yeah, well, it's obvious we got to diversify. We need to go online, and we need to have something just besides the travel. What can we do? Let's talk." I was like, wow, okay, this is really interesting. I never would have approached them, and out of the blue, they got in touch with me. So keep your eyes and ears open, and think about those different angles.
Yeah, the last thing I want to mention about that is, for example, one of the tree service clients who just hired me this week, actually, we started communicating in February of this year. So those of you that don't nurture your leads and follow up, you're missing out on a big part of the business. We talk a lot about that kind of stuff in the mastermind, and in 2X Your Agency, it's touched on as well. But that's the thing. I started talking with this client. He reached out to me from some of my marketing out online, right? So it was an inbound lead. We scheduled a call. I sent, had a discovery call. Then I sent a proposal to them after about a week, within a week of the discovery call. And it was probably 4 or 5 weeks I hadn't heard from them. And I did some automated follow-ups over the course of that time. And I ended up getting a call back, an email back where they wanted to schedule, it's 2 partners in this business, and they wanted to schedule a conference call to ask some questions and stuff. So we did that. Then it was radio silence again for about 2 weeks. So my automated follow-ups kicked in and started following up with them, sending them emails just, every couple of weeks, reminding them, hey, that proposal's still hanging out there. If you're interested, reach back out, blah, blah, blah. And they followed back up in June. So from February until June, and then now it's July, and they just now hired me. So we're talking 4 or 5 months of time had lapsed between when the initial contact, the lead came in, and when they actually hired me. And it was just because of follow-ups that I was able to secure that client. And it's a pretty decent client. pretty good amount of revenue, and they've got a good budget too. So my point is that, you know, guys, it's really important to follow up. If you're not, you're losing business. Does that make sense? So anyway.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a good note. And we talked about it earlier, and we're talking about the Mastermind. For everyone who doesn't know what the Mastermind is, that's our close private community. You can find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. We just had part of the 4th of July special was a very limited time offer for a 7-day trial into the Mastermind, booking an onboarding call. We had not a lot, but we had several people take us up on that, and just want to put that out there that if you're interested in taking things up to the next level, if you know that being in a group of like-minded agency owners or consultants who are trying to grow and are understand that, you know, learning from others who have been there, whether it's us, whether it's the other people in the Mastermind, is the way to get results. If you're at that point now, then please go check it out, because that's the group you want to be in. And the last thing I want to touch on is POFU Live. All right, I am excited. POFU Live 2020. All right, it can't keep us down, right? No coronavirus is going to keep us from having POFU Live. It's just going to be virtually live, all right, this year. So it's still September 25th, 26th, and 27th. Obviously, you can join wherever you're at. And we still do have just the ticket available so that you can join and check everything out and watch all the talks. We have a VIP ticket available. We're going to have a VIP event. We're going to be getting some beers shipped out directly to you if you sign up. And then we're going to be hopping on for an online guided beer tasting event, and then do some BSing, have some fun after that, after everyone's had a couple beers. Yeah, that's the good stuff. And then, of course, we've got the VIP Plus ticket. If you're out there and you're looking for some one-on-one time, or rather several on one, you want us to chime in on whether it's your processes, building your agency, whatever it is, you're going to get a hell of a deal with that. So head over to pofulive.com. We're going to be having more details coming out as the summer goes on. We've already got Dedia. We've got 3 amazing guest speakers lined up. All right, 2 of them are from our very own Mastermind. We have 2 very successful agency owners, Jordan Fowler and Brian Caddo. And then Dedia, the famous Dedia, will be speaking as well. I believe he's going to be giving some info on updated case study. But regardless, we're really looking forward to that. Rob Beal, of course, will be joining us, and then all of us will be there. So it's going to be jam-packed. We got a lot going on. We got some more guest speakers we're getting lined up. So head over to POFU Live, grab your ticket. If you guys have any questions and you're watching this live, feel free to pop it on the page, and we'll answer it today as we go.
Sweet. Are we ready?
I think so. Let's do this.
Yep. Do this.
Let's get into it. All right, couple things real quick. This was Marco's screenshot, and I mean, look at that. Look at the growth right there. This is what he was talking about in the Facebook post, and that's in 30 days. Like, that's amazing, Marco. That's fucking impressive, and it's you know, it's not uncommon. It's common for you to have results like this, but that's really impressive. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Marco was talking about, guys. It's the same stuff that we teach.
Beautiful.
One other thing I want to touch on real quick is I'm building out a checklist, guys, using Process Street, which I love. It's for processes that I use internally in my own agency now. It's for training and everything else. It's amazing. Process Street is fabulous. Anyways, I'm building out a checklist for our methods so that it'll be shareable, that you guys will be able to go in. And it's kind of following the battle plan, like what we talk about in the most current version of the battle plan, which is our methods and how to, you know, put them together in the proper sequence and all of that, because I guess that's not been clear to a lot of people still. So probably next week, by Hump Day Hangouts next week, this will be available. So you can see there's a lot of information in here, and it'll be step-by-step with certain things that, you know, you can check box to go through. But I just kind of want to give you guys a quick update on that, or heads up on that, excuse me, because that's something that I'm working on now, and it should be ready by next Wednesday. And it's going to continue to be fleshed out, where I'll actually add training videos, like essentially explainer videos where appropriate within the actual process doc, to really explain the process. Because not only is it just knowing the process, but it's also the why. Like, why do we do these things, right? And so I want to be able to add additional information into that, and we're going to make that available to you guys. You know, like I said, the checklist will come first, and then over the coming weeks, I'm going to be adding additional like video clips within the actual process doc so that you guys will have a better understanding of what it is. And then you can just import that in your own Process Street account if you choose to use it, and then make copies or what's called run checklists off of it. And then you can use that for each project. So you can just go right on through and check off the boxes as you get stuff done for each project. So just wanted to share that with you guys as well. Okay. Any comments, guys, before we get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So first one up is Nicholas. He says, besides submitting to RSS directories and building syndication rings, is there anything else we can do with RSS feeds to help our SEO and link building effort? Yeah, use them in theme mirroring with your G site. You know, if I'm going to mention this here, I can't show you how to do it here, but it's been covered in pretty much any one of our paid courses and Syndication Academy, Mastermind, Heavy Hitter Club. I mean, any one of them, it's been covered in. But if you know how to use FeedBurner, you can create an embed code from an RSS feed using FeedBurner, and then mirror that into your G site, which you should be doing anyways, right? What we call theme mirroring, right? And then you can link build to that G site page. You can do embeds for that G site page, link building into that G site page, both embeds plus link building to the embeds. And that's a very, very powerful way to utilize your RSS feeds. Again, stacking iframes in Google properties, right? So you got a G site, Google property, a Buzz Boost embed code, Google property, RSS feeds, right? So it's dynamically updated every time you publish content. Same thing with the Press Advantage RSS feeds, right? Every time you publish a press release, it dynamically updates the embed code, the RSS embed code. So it's very, very powerful. And I use that very heavily in my theme mirroring. So anybody have any other comments on that? Nope. Okay. Something else. One other thing you can do is it depends on how many projects. I always recommend that you just have one branded syndication. So tier 1 branded syndication ring for blog content. But if you've only got one project that you're working on, then you might want to go through the trouble of having multi-tiered networks, which works great if you can manage the second tier networks so that you're adding relevant content. So in other words, if you've got an RSS feed that if you're only syndicating to your tier 1 syndication network, that's great. That's what I primarily do. But if you're looking to squeeze more power out of it too, you can do the multi-tiered networks and use that same feed to trigger your second tier networks. But you also want to add in related content feeds, other relevant and related content feeds from other sources is what I'm saying. If you're questioning what it is that I'm talking about, just go to support.semanticmastery.com. And you can we have a knowledge base there, and you can go look into the Syndication Academy knowledge base articles and look at there's several knowledge base articles with videos in there that talk about how to utilize multi-tiered syndication networks for blog syndication. And that will give you a really in-depth description or explanation of how to set that up properly so that you can squeeze even more power out of an RSS feed. Okay. Oh, and lastly, if you check out Syndication Academy in the advanced RSS training, there's additional things you can do with it there. All right, next is, don't know what the name is, but hi, I'm looking for an all-in-one done-for-you package. Is this possible for lead gen? I mean, yes and no. We have the SEO Shield, which is pretty much all of our methods. You still have to set up the main asset unless you're going to use the G site within the SEO Shield as your primary entity asset, so your primary website, which you can do. If you're doing for lead gen too, I'm assuming you're talking about local lead gen, then you can. Right now, we still have, or at least currently, we have GMB verification services available. So you should get a GMB. Then you can include that in your SEO Shield build once the GMB has been verified. And if you've already got one, then you just submit that with your SEO Shield build, and then we'll build out all of those assets for you. Then it's a matter of content marketing, which we don't provide content marketing services yet. At some point in the future, we may, but content marketing on a regular basis, press releases, we sell those in MGYB. It's important to do that. And then in link building and embeds to your entity assets. Again, it's exactly what we cover in the battle plan. And MGYB is, done for you services. We don't have an all encompassing package that sets up, the website and the entity assets and everything for you. There you have to kind of put them together. But that's what the SEO Shield is, because that's most of our methods tied into one package. Any comments on that, guys?
Yeah, I read this a couple of days ago, I think it was. I can't remember when it was first posted. And I thought about this and I said that it's a great idea, but it would be hard for us to kind of put this together. And I'm going to tell you why. I like money, and I don't mind people giving me money, right, through our done for you services. I know they're effective and I know that they work. But let's say that we package it all. We did the 5-6 press releases in the package. We do the link building and put that in the package. We do the embeds and we put that in the package, and we do everything that you usually need, or that we can, let's say that we can use for this person. We're talking about something that would probably run in the thousands of dollars, and it may be overkill. So it might be that this person would not need all of this to rank in that niche, and they would be needlessly spending money. Now, I'll say it again. Although I'd love for this person to give me the money, and they're going to get results anyway, but they might be giving me too much. And that's something that to me, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with people having to overspend for results. So this is why we set it up. You go in, you do your on page right. Then you come and get the SEO Shield. Then you wait and see what the results are. Without data, you're going blind. Like, without looking at ranking results, without looking if you're getting form fills, if you're getting visits, if you don't have analytics set up, if you don't have Search Console set up, if you're not gathering all of this data, if you're not waiting out the 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks, once everything is handed back to you, right? Once that ad ID page and the Drivestack and G site and the syndication network, and you've primed it and you started content syndication, or you're doing posting inside your GMB, whatever your money site is, and you're doing things the way that we tell you to do, you have to look and see what kind of results you're getting. Because if you're already there, you might just need a little push to stick and solidify. You might not need everything. And so it is a good idea. So, okay, just give me everything. But what if you don't need everything? What if it's overkill? And what if it dances for months and months, which we've seen, until it settles? I mean, you could have been making money instead of setting everything to dance. The only problem that I have with this is that it could be overkill. So maybe we set it up for another thing that I thought, for more competitive niches. Well, even in the most competitive niches, we've seen that we can do damage with embed runs, link building, and some press releases. Sometimes it doesn't need a whole bunch, or other times it needs more, and it needs that consistency. It needs posting over time. It needs to solidify the entity. Your entity needs to be better than everybody else's entity. Well, that's on-page work so that the results can be better. There is no, I wish there were such a thing as a magic pill, as a way to look at a niche and say, this is definitely, this and only this is what's definitely going to work for that niche. Because guess what? It doesn't work that way. And the algorithms don't work that way, even in the same niche, in different categories, in different, subcategories. It might work differently, so we don't know. All we can do is you follow the sequence, look at the data, and if you need more, we got loads more that you could do.
Very good. And he says that, yeah, he will buy the GMB service and make my own site. I just need something to rank both GMB and organic. Is there such a service? And yeah, that's what we talk about with the SEO Shield and in the ongoing link building and embeds, right? That's in press release. So content marketing is all part of that. Is part of our method. And that's how you that's how you build additional relevancy and authority to your assets, is by continually updating with content, and you add depth to your content, right? Does that make sense? So it's really important to do that. And that's why if you get an SEO Shield, that's step one, right? An SEO Power Shield, because that covers all of those entity assets, all of our methods that we talk about. It builds all of those out for you. And then it's about powering up those entity assets consistently and with consistent content marketing as well. So is anyone available? Yeah, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Alana says, could you guys break down the value of using embeds versus iframes? It's the same thing, Alana. Same thing. right? An embed code is nothing but an iframe, right? And is there anything that I'm missing here, guys?
No, the iframe is the code. The embed is what you do with the code on on another page, right?
Right.
So
Are they
yeah,
crawled differently? No.
No.
Especially curious to use which to use when creating stacks. Yeah, again, so maybe the question is, should you create your own embed code, right? Like an iframe generator, for example, and then insert it using the insert HTML box in G sites and then insert your own code, or do you want to go to insert and then go to gadgets and you find the iframe gadget and then insert the URL and let G sites make the actual embed code for you? It doesn't matter either way. It really doesn't matter either way. So it's just, it's 6 in one, half dozen in the other. Do you want to create your own embed code and then embed it using the HTML box, insert HTML box, or do you want to let Google create the iframe by using the iframe gadget? Either way, it's going to do the same damn thing. Okay. So it doesn't matter. Okay. Next, Jay says, hey guys, just got an ID page made recently. Would it be wise to add the URL of the S3 page to the money site, same as schema? Would this cause any harm? No, that should be, if depending on what type of ID or schema you're using, for corporation or organization, which corporation is a subset of organization schema, or even local business schema, or any subset of local business schema, there is an ID page designation or attribute, right, within the structured data. And that's what you would link. That's what you would designate as your ID page, is the S3 URL. As same as too, you can put it there too. It's not going to hurt anything. I prefer actually to, if I have a branded domain, I like to, almost everything I run goes through. I use Cloudflare for DNS, and I like to set up an actual domain map using a CNAME over to the bucket URL. So that I'm using, it's not on HTTPS, but it ends up being like, for example, id.domain.com. Or if it's location specific, then I'll do like the city name. So let's just say Culpeper-id.domain.com. If I've got multiple locations, so multiple ID pages, if that makes sense. And I like to use that because then once again, it's referencing the branded domain. And if you click on that URL, it's basically showing the bucket, both the bucket URL and the ID page. If it's a custom mapped domain, subdomain, then they both show, like they'll both show. But what I do is add the canonical in the actual ID page so that it's always canonicalizing back to its own, to the custom domain version of it, if that makes sense. But yeah, you can add it in the same as, it's not going to hurt anything. I always do, in fact.
Yeah, I always do. It doesn't hurt anything.
Also, what type of link building would you recommend to power up the S3 bucket safely to pass power to the money site? MGYB link building and embeds, embeds and link building. Remember, they both, it's very powerful, both of them. Link building directly to the ID page. If you're using iframes and all of that on the ID page, then you're not going to have any issues. Also, I like to do embeds and then link building to the embeds because you can add relevancy that way too. Okay. And by the way, you can basically build any types of links to the ID page. We have the service in MGYB that has been developed specifically to work with our methods, but you could do any sort of links to that, really.
Yeah, we have a Dedia for that, right? MGYB.co. He's been doing it forever. Seems like almost a decade. So why wouldn't we use the master?
That's right. That's right. And he'll be speaking at POFU Live. So. Jonah says, howdy, y'all. Really appreciate the videos you put out. I am looking to rank a page for a low/medium competition local service keyword for a location with no GMB listings, just purely organic results. My competitor hasn't updated their site for years and doesn't have any ongoing link building from my analysis, just links from years ago that aren't particularly strong. I checked on page, improved content, and built a handful of relevant guest posts and press releases along with links from the G-Stack, but been stuck on the top of page 2 for months. Is there anything you guys would recommend to give the page a bit of a push? Thanks again. Yeah, I mean, more content. So I talked about that earlier, just adding more depth to the site as far as, I don't know if you've got your site siloed or what how your site is structured, but adding more content so that it's got more relevant and fresh content, that helps. Syndication network, like I said, if you're going to be publishing content, you may as well do it via your blog from your money site so that it's syndicating out to a syndication network, which again, it's activity that it's in relevancy that it's building. You can power up your syndication networks. You can power up your entity assets. So for example, again, SEO Power Shield. If you don't already have that, make sure you get that, right? And that's going to put your money site in the middle and then have this SEO shield. That's why we call it that. It's essentially like an SEO firewall of high authority profiles, branded assets that are covering or cocooning your site, so to speak, right? Shielding your site. And then you just do a shit ton of link building. And as I just mentioned, embeds. Embeds, you can do embeds from your entity assets. You can even embed your money site if you wanted to. And in that way, it's getting the embed code is going to be placed on pages with relevant content. Then you can link build to those link building or those embed pages, right? And so that's just a stacked service. In other words, when you buy embeds services from MGYB, then you order the link building which will link build to the embed pages. All of these things are going to help to push it onto page one. And that's really the whole game in a nutshell there. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, look at the entity and work on the structured data. I see nothing on there about what you've done with your structured data.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a given now anyways. I guess not everybody understands that, but yeah, you guys, structured data is critically important. Remember, you can also mark up besides just organization or markup or local business markup. You can also add elements, mark up the elements of pages and things like that. So the more that you can add, the better you're going to be, because you're going to have a stronger entity, right? A stronger asset. So, okay, next, DC SEO. What's up, man? He says, I'm going to order a couple of Drivestack expansions soon, but just so I'm clear, can I use the expansions for both the same target URL the shield was set up to target in the first place, as well as brand new URLs, i.e. target the homepage twice with different top level keywords, then add another expansion for an inner page?
Real quick, Bradley, can you and Marco kind of expound on this a little bit? Because we just rolled this out right before the 4th of July special. I don't think we've had a chance to really tell people. Can you just, in case anyone's watching who doesn't know what we're talking about with the Drive expansion?
Yeah, here, I'll pull it up. And Marco, you want to kind of talk through this a little bit? So typically what we recommend is you're going to have one primary keyword that you want the brand to be associated with. And I understand there's a lot of additional keywords, products and services for businesses. But there should be one primary keyword, right? And then from there, if you got your site structured with silo structure, then you're going to have top level categories. And so that's perfect for a Drivestack expansion, right? So now you're going to take the top level keyword for one of your product categories or service categories, and that's going to be an expansion. You're going to order, expand your Drivestack for that, which is what we're looking at on this page. Okay. So what that does is is your Google Drive expansion stack and your Google site setup. So what that means is if you've already got your primary Drivestack and G site for your entity, your brand, then that's, again, creating the association between your top level keyword plus the brand. Then after that's built, then you would take your silos, right? So your product or service categories on your site, and you would whatever the top level keyword is for each one of the categories, you would create another expansion stack, which would be basically creating an additional folder inside of your Google Drive folder, your main Drive folder, that is optimized for that each silo keyword, right? So each folder would be now optimized for one particular category on the site. And then a page gets created on the existing G site for the brand, right? That then all of the Drive folders and files get embedded into that. So that's how you create that theme mirroring within the Drivestack and the G site. So that's what, again, I don't typically order an expansion stack that's going to target the home page, because I typically have my site structured in with the silo architecture. So I'm going to start going after, once the initial stack is built for brand plus keyword association, then I start building out the expansions for the service product and or service categories, essentially the silos on the site. Marco, maybe you can explain that differently.
Not differently, but when I think of this, I think of the silo architecture, of course. And I think about how Bruce Clay, set this up, right? So he sets up the marble jar, and they're all of the colors are mixed. But of course, it's marble, so we can call them widgets, call them whatever you want. All right, so we're selling marbles. And what we're going to do with that main Drivestack and G site is associate that with the keyword marbles. So it's going to be G site, site marble, whatever, marbles, all colors, and we're going to say shapes, sizes, whatever, and that's perfect there. All right, so each one of those jars on there is going to represent an inner page on not only the money site, but the companion G site. Each time that you add a page, so now you have marbles, let's say marbles.com, and the first one you're going to do is green. So marbles.com, green and red and yellow. You're going to write everything that you're going to do about green marbles under that category, under that green. Now that page, that main page, you're going to copy that exact same page into an inner page on the G site. Instead of you doing all that, what we do is we take that and we do it for you. We take that page, we copy it, we set up the Drivestack, we embed everything, we add content, and we just create that relevance. And we add that I'm not going to say what we add, but it's a way to pass the power through a fire hose with a nozzle, so that the power of that water, think about it, because you can cut metal with water. So we're concentrating that power so that we pass the power to that inner page. Why? Because we've noticed and we've seen, and all our tests show that it's much more difficult to rank one page for all of the keywords under that niche marbles. It's much harder to do that than it is to break that up into categories, and the way that Bruce Clay shows on his website. And under those, we target the keywords in that set. And what we're after is green marbles. That would be the top level category there. But every keyword under that would be a target. So green marble price, green marble cost, just what a best green marbles, all of that would be under that, and it would be boosting that category. And what happens is all of those keywords start pushing up that top level category. They start coming up, and that's how you start generating traffic to the website. So when we thought that out, right, what we did is very simply, we take the keywords, we take the keyword set, we isolate it. Now this is inside the main Drivestack that you've already purchased with the SEO Power Shield. We take that, we isolate now the keyword set under that subcategory, which is green marbles and red marbles and yellow marbles. They should each have their own page, right? So that we're siloing properly. And if they do, then they should have a companion Drivestack and G site page within the SEO Power Shield. So this is how when we thought this up, when I started to conceptualize it and start thinking about it and how to isolate it and how to deliver the power, this is how we do it. I'm not going to say here how we do it, because that's giving away too much. But when you get it, you'll see what it is that we do. If you break it down, like we have a lot of people doing, trying to reverse engineer, and that's fine too. I'm not going to give it away here.
And so just a representation, again, using tree service stuff, because that's pretty much all I'm doing right now besides existing client work, is tree service is the most broad a keyword, right? So if I'm making brand association with a Drivestack, the initial Drivestack and G site, it's going to be tree service plus company name. Okay. And if it's very one specific location, we might include the location modifier, but for most of my tree service clients, they cover a several county areas. So we typically will it'll be tree service, and then whatever the company name is, that's going to be the Drivestack's going to get built out for, and the G site as well. Okay. And then from there, that's where, we can silo out like tree removal, tree trimming, arborist services. Each one of those could be separate silos. Lawn care, land clearing. Not all tree service contractors do lawn care, but some do. Landscaping could be another one. So each one of those would be your individual silos, right? Because those would be different service categories on the website. And so each one of these could get its own RYS expansion service created for it. And what that's going to do is going to create subfolders within the primary RYS Drivestack folder, right? That are optimized, each one for each specific silo. And then a separate page is going to be created on the primary G site, branded G site, that's going to be mirrored for the website structure. And it's going to include all of the Drivestack files and folders that have been created as part of the expansion service in their respective pages on the G site. Does that make sense? So that's what it is. And so for example, the tree removal expansion would be all the keywords that are associated with, that are, strictly tree removal based keywords that are going to be built into the files, the Drivestack files. And then all of those files and folders are going to be embedded on that page and are all going to be linking back to, on the G site page, and they're all going to be linking back to pages and or posts within the tree removal silo on the money site. Does that make sense? And then likewise over here in lawn care, if this particular client or project had lawn care services too, then there would be a lawn care expansion created, and all of the files and folders would be optimized for lawn care terms. They would all be linking to the lawn care pages and posts on the site, and then they would be mirrored onto the G site as well. Does that make sense? And now you've got separate targets that you can build links to within your Drivestack, within your G site folder, files and folders, that now you can buy specific link building gigs with keyword terms that are specific to that particular silo, to that theme. Does that make sense? So that's how you can really start to push power into like very specific keyword sets within your actual site. Okay. Anyways, that was a great question though. And thanks, Adam, for telling us to expand on that a little bit more. All right, so next, where were we? That was DC SEO. So Mohammed's up next. He says, hey guys, how would I show the progress I made for a client? My current car dealer client referred another dealer to me and I want to make a case study. What would be a good way to show the changes I affected? I have the Webmaster Tools graph and GMB Insights so far. Would anything else work? Yeah, I mean, that's what I like to use more than anything is what Search Console, GMB Insights, and Analytics. And if I'm doing AdWords or Google Ads, then I typically will show ad data too. But those are, I don't like to use rank reports anymore because they're not that accurate. They just show an indication of the health, but they're never all that, they're not very accurate because of, what we've talked about many times on Hump Day Hangouts with user location. You can't really mimic location that well. You can't mimic browsing history, personal history, profile history, what type of content people engage with and all that. So, I don't like to use rank trackers or rank reports really that much. I still provide them to clients, but those are always like secondary reports because I like to focus on GMB Insights, Analytics, Search Console, and then, like I said, Google Ads data if I'm running ads campaigns as well. Any other comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, he has the client that recommended this other car dealer. The foot is already in the door. They've already talked. I don't know how much more it is that you need to show or what it is that they're asking for. But the GMB Insights, if look at the one that I posted again in Heavy Hitter, anything like that. You can't close the deal with something like that. Where you show, and this, of course, you can go month, you can go weekly, you can go quarter, right? Those are images. I can't show the actual GMB. But if you go in there, you can show the quarter, you can show the month, you can show it week to week. You can pick a time frame. You can go into the historical data in the GMB and pull that up. I mean, you go into that historical data, you go a year back, and you show what you did for that client, and it's a done deal. Look at the results. So again, focus your conversation on results. You're going to show results. You've been, with this current car dealer, you're getting results that you can show. Ask your other clients if they would mind, of course, under strict confidentiality, if this person could call and ask them about the results they got with you. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. I don't mind anyone that I'm talking to ever, of course, with the clients, okay, calling the client and saying, hey, don't tell me more about Marco. They usually come recommended from a client anyway. I don't take anyone just calling me cold and yeah, let's talk. I don't do that anymore. But this guy's hot. He's coming from a dealer that's referring you. They should know. And if they don't, just give them the graphs. I mean, that's perfectly fine. As Brady said, analytics is really good also for this, for that visual.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I like to do. I like to show traffic reports more than anything. That seems to be the best metric to run by anyways, in my opinion. Well, bottom line is the best metric, right? What kind of revenue has been generated, but that's not something you can typically share. So Tom's up, he says, I have a generically branded YouTube channel with some lead gen videos that I had been using for a client, but unfortunately an unforeseen circumstance or life forced him to have to cancel his service. I purposely put his contact info at the top of the description in YouTube so it would show in the search results, which of course I changed once he was no longer a client, but Google was refusing to update the search results. As a result, my former client is getting free advertising and I cannot pass the videos along to a new client because of this. Got any ninja tricks to get Google to update this quicker? No, that's the Google index cache, and they refresh it when they want. And I know what you're talking about. I have I had a video for a client project that I did about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. And it's got some really funky issue going on with that too. It was weird. I did a live stream and for some reason it took the still like thumbnail image from that particular channel that I was live streaming, and that's what shows. And anyways, long story short, I've got a similar issue going on and I don't know how to get it to, I've tried things like pinging. I've tried sending them through indexers. I've tried, sending it back through a syndication network again. They embed, the YouTube embedded in this to go out, basically get re-syndicated out to a network again to see if I get it crawled again, if that would update or refresh the Google index, the cache essentially for the search results. And I experienced something similar. The only thing that I know that you could do would be to set it to unlisted until it falls out of the index and then turn it back to public, if that makes sense. Because then when Google goes to re-index it again, it should index it with the new, with the whatever the new description is, that shows up at the top. Whatever the new description is, that will show at whatever's at the top is going to show as the meta description in the search result. That's the only thing I know. Maybe somebody else has another way to force it. Any ideas, guys?
No, nothing from me.
Yeah. So that's what I would do, is try setting it to unlisted. Don't delete it, right? Because then you lose all of the work that you did to that particular video. Just unlist it, wait for it to fall out of the index, which it will. I don't know how soon that will be. You might be able to force that. I don't know if you can force it to fall out of the index by pinging it or whatever, but once it, isn't in the index any longer, then you can set it back to public. And then I would ping it again or run it through an indexing service, re-syndicate it through your network, something like that. And when Google comes and crawls it again, it should refresh that cache to whatever is at the top of the description now. That's the only thing I could think of to do. Lana says, sorry, got few questions from last week regarding iframing a money site. You mentioned in your answer creating a theme mirrored page on a G site and iframing the money site on it. Could you elaborate on what you mean by theme mirrored page? Okay, yes, we can. From what I understand, theme mirroring is creating a property stacks that align with the categories on your site. When you say money site, you are actually iframing the site you actually want to rank on the G site. Yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about. So when we say money site, that's whatever your primary asset is for your project. Typically, it's going to be a self-hosted site. Most of the time on WordPress. It doesn't have to be, but most of the time it's going to be a self-hosted site. It doesn't have to be, by the way. You could use your Google site as your money site, whatever. My point is, whatever your primary asset is for the project that you're working on, most likely it's going to be a self-hosted site. That's what we call a money site. It's just a term to describe whatever the primary asset is, okay? So from there, yes, on your G site, right? So again, theme mirroring is all about creating a 1-to-1 ratio of your site structure, your main property, your main website site structure across all of your entity assets. So that's why we talk about theme mirroring onto your G site. So creating, if you've got, 4 top level categories or 4 services or 4 products, right, that you're going to be selling on your site, then we would mirror the 4. So you'd have your main G site, which is going to be your brand, right? So basically the home page of the G site is your brand and whatever primary keyword is. But then you're going to have pages on the G site that are mirrored after your money site pages, your primary website pages, right? And the same thing with your Drivestack. It's just going to have the primary folder, which is going to be branded, plus your primary keyword. then you, again, the expansion service, which would be the theme mirroring, would be to create subfolders within your primary GStack folder that each one of them optimize for a particular product or service or category on your site. Does that make sense? So whatever the structure, first start with on-page structure of your primary asset. Again, go take a look at Bruce Clay's silo architecture article. You can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/semantic mastery, use the channel search feature, type in silo architecture or silo structure, whatever. You'll see there's videos, there's even a playlist where I very specifically talk about how to set up silo structure on a website. Then once you've done that correctly, then you go out and you start to build out those entity assets or purchase them and have us do it. But you start to mirror that same structure across everything you do, across your content marketing, across your entity assets, everything that you do, right? So again, if you've got a GMB, for example, a Google My Business profile, and you have content silos on your main site, then publish content to your GMB profile using GMB posts, and you want to stack them the same way that you would stack content within your silos, right? So you're adding depth to silos, right? So there's width and how many categories there are. So you could have a mono silo site, which means one silo, but you just add a bunch of depth to it, which means supporting articles that are within the same keyword theme. And you just add additional articles, are constantly adding depth to the site, which builds relevancy. Does that make sense? You do the same thing within GMB posts. You do the same thing with press releases. You do the same thing on your G site. You do the same thing in the Drivestack. Everything ends up getting mirrored to where it's got the same structure. And what happens is you build a shit ton of massive thematic relevance, right? So relevancy, topical relevancy, as well as you build, authority. And it's just, it creates a network empire. Used to use a term called buoyancy, right? So by doing so, and you have all of these assets that are all linked properly, and they're all building relevancy in proper categories or content silos, then it starts to create buoyancy across all of the content in every silo. In other words, it helps, what does they say? Rising tides causes all boats to rise. That's what we mean by buoyancy. It helps all of the keywords to start to surface in the search results. I don't know if that was a very clear explanation, but that was the best I could do. Anyone else want to comment on it?
A clone, an exact copy, a duplicate of whatever it is that you're doing. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of fancy words for saying, do the same thing over there. The same thing that you're doing here, wherever your money site is, do over there, wherever it is that your theme mirror it. To think of a mirror, what do you see in the mirror? You see the same thing that's looking back at you, right? Same thing. That's all we're saying. I just hate mentioning the word duplicate because then people start saying, well, duplicate content and all this bullshit that we know is bullshit. And I don't want people focusing on that. Just copy whatever it is that you're doing or do the same thing everywhere. And if you do that, then your theme mirroring.
Very good. All right, the last part of that was finally, you mentioned you run embed gigs to the G site. What do you mean by embed gigs? Well, that's right here. Okay, so on MGYB store, if you look at the embed packages, then you've got maps, videos, ID page, general. I typically would just order general. It doesn't matter, guys. Just order whatever you're looking to power up. But what this means is you take for example, your G site pages that you've mirrored, right? So again, you got your home page, which is going to be brand plus primary keyword. Okay. Then once you start to mirror your pages from your money site, right? So your primary asset onto your G site. Now you've got G site pages that are 1-to-1 ratio. So if you've got 18 products, separate products that are all separate categories on your, or services, whether they're products or services, doesn't matter. Then you're going to have 18 pages on the G site, the home page plus 18 pages, right? Each one of them is going to be 1-to-1. So let's say you've got blue marbles, green marbles, red marbles on your money site. You're going to have blue marbles, green marbles, and red marbles or whatever on your G site too. Does that make sense? Each one of them is going to have a 1-to-1 page ratio. And then from there, you can take your pages or the G site homepage, whatever you want, but you can get very specific on where you're pushing relevancy and how. If you take your pages from, like, for example, your green marble page, and you come over here and get your the embed gig over here, and let's say you want to do just to say it's a gas it up medium competition. So this is going to do 2,500 embeds to your green marble G site page. Does that make sense? And you can add other stuff in there, right? So let's say that you order the RYS Drivestack expansion. So now you're going to have the G site page created by us on your G site, your existing entity or branded G site, excuse me. We're going to create the Green Marbles page. We're going to create the Green Marbles folder within your Drivestack. And then all of the files that are going to be created inside the Drivestack are going to be optimized specifically for Green Marbles. Does that make sense? And they're all going to be, the links are all going to be pointing to the Green Marble page on your money site. Then those files and folders are going to be embedded in the Green Marble G site page. And now you've got the G site page that you can order an embed gig to, an embed, run to. And you could also embed the G site, excuse me, the Drivestack files. You could also embed your money site pages if you wanted to for Green Marbles. Does that make sense? If you're doing press releases, you could iframe the specific press releases that are pointing back to the Green Marbles money site page. Does that make sense? All of those, you can embed those. And what we mean by embeds is, once again, it's creating an iframe. So it's essentially creating a window in another website that displays your content, which is the same thing as what a YouTube video is. Guys, when you share a YouTube video on somebody else's website and it shows up as a video, that's an embed code, right? That's an iframe. So you're actually seeing YouTube code on somebody else's website. Well, that's all you're doing, is you're taking your website or your G site page or your content, whatever it is that you're creating an iframe, and we're going out, or Dedia, our link builder, is going out and creating pages on other sites with relevant content that's going to have that window, that iframe, that embed code of your content in the middle of it, so that you're starting to push relevancy in through the iframe that way. And then with the different kits here that we have, or package levels that we have here, then link building to the pages that the embeds are on. So that's what we mean by an embed run, is just go and do that. And I use a combination of both. I usually start with link building, and then I'll, so maybe month 1, I'll hit everything with link building. Then on month 2, I'll do embeds plus link building. Then maybe month 3, I'll switch it up and I'll hit maybe deeper targets from within the project, what we call, deep linking. So there's just a number of ways that we do it. And guys, a lot of this will hopefully make a lot more sense starting next week when I have the checklist done that I started to show you guys earlier from Process Street, because then you can go through it. And like I said, it will at first just be a checklist saying, okay, do this, this, and this, and in this sequence. And in this, it'll be literally step by step. But I'm going to be adding over the coming weeks explainer videos to explain why we're doing this, so that you guys get a better understanding of the big picture. Because I still think that gets lost a lot. What do they call it? Getting lost in translation. I think that gets lost a lot when we try to explain this, because we understand it, and sometimes some of our audience does not. And so we're trying to get better about that, which is why I'm working on that checklist for you guys. Okay. We're just about out of time. Let's see if we can scroll through another one or two real quick, guys. Olaf says, does theme mirroring include internal links? So do stacks link to each other? Well, it's an expansion of an existing stack. So yeah, I mean, they're all spider siloed together anyways, if you understand what we mean by that. But yeah, if it's a subfolder within an existing Drivestack, they're all linked together anyways. Does that make sense? It's like a parent and child relationship. So yes, if I wouldn't build separate stacks, that doesn't make sense. It's why we have the expansion service, guys, because you get more power out of building additional relevancy within one stack than you do by building multiple stacks. Does that make sense? Okay, moving on.
There is no physical link between stacks. We don't do that.
Need to be.
No, we don't do that. They live within one another. And if you're isolating a stack, but you link out from that stack to something else, then you're defeating the purpose of isolating the stack like we recommend. So no, they don't. They interlink inside the Drivestack itself. But if you have 3 stacks within the one main stack, none of those 3 will link either to each other or to the main stack.
There you go. All right, the last one is we're going to answer BB's questions real quick because he's here every week asking multiple questions. You've gotten less questions though. You're starting to trend down, BB, which is what we asked for. So anyways, I'm proud of you, buddy. He says, hey guys, IFTTT has a problem of syndicating full text posts. Have you encountered this problem, or is it for new connections only? No, I have not. I would, now I don't know. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but what I would suggest you take a look at your settings from your feed. So if you're syndicating from a WordPress site, a self-hosted WordPress site, if you go into settings reading, right? So under the settings option in WordPress and then go to reading, you'll see that there's an option for the RSS feed to show either summary or full text. Now, even if you set it to full text, so the RSS feed shows the full text, some themes, WordPress themes, will only show snippets instead, so summaries or snippets instead of the full text, even if you set that as a setting. So it really depends. I don't think it's an IFTTT thing. It's most likely a WordPress thing. Either your settings are off or the WordPress theme that you're using is forcing summaries. So I've not heard of that from anybody else yet. So if that is the case, then we will know within the next few days for sure. And this is the last one, guys, and then I'm going to cancel, shut it down because we're after 5 o'clock. Is do you do your backlink and embed packages on your press releases also, or only with syndication properties and Google properties? No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying, guys, is you can push power in through any number of places. And if you're theme mirroring and content marketing, and they're all, and your content marketing is mirrored, right, across all of your content marketing sources, including press releases, you can utilize those very strategically. I talk about this a lot in the Mastermind. But for example, once again, guys, like within a particular silo, right, you publish content from your money site. It syndicates out to your syndication network properties. Well, you can go extract those URLs from the syndication network properties that are specific to those posts. So let's say you add 5 supporting articles in a silo. So 5 blog posts, they get pushed out to syndication network. You can go to syndication network, and let's just keep it simple. Let's just say that you just grab the 3 blog URLs for each one of the posts that gets syndicated out to the blogs, right? So Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress. So you go extract now, and you've got 5 supporting posts in this example, right? So now you're going to have 5 URLs from Blogger, 5 URLs from Tumblr, 5 URLs from WordPress.com, right? And now same thing if you're theme mirroring on with using press releases. So you got 5 press releases, each press release promoting a blog post, one of those blog posts. Now you can take those 5 press release URLs and you can add those into a link building gig, or you can an embed gig, or whatever you wanted to do. So that's what I'm saying, guys, is you can take, then by the way, you can also create a theme mirrored pages on the G site. I typically don't do it on a post level, just on a page level. But if I wanted to, if you really needed the additional push, you could always take wherever your top level pages are on your G site, right? So you've got, again, mirrored, your top level categories are going to have pages on your G site, and you can create child pages. They're not posts, but you can create child pages on your G site and have each one of your posts now added as a child page on your G site. You could extract those URLs and add those to link building gigs. Then you order the link building gigs with keyword sets that are specific to that particular category or silo, that keyword theme, that set. Does that make sense? And so again, guys, yeah, you can, and same thing with the press releases, you can work them right in there. Here's the thing, on your G site, if you're going down to a post level and adding child pages on the G site as posts, right, to whatever the category page is on the G site, then you can even take your content from your syndication network and iframe that into the G site page. Same thing with your press releases, right? So can you imagine, you don't even need any additional content is my point, guys. You can take the G site page, just create the page, optimize it for the same keyword as the post on your site, right, that you're trying to promote. And then you take all of the content that it's been syndicated to and mirrored on, including press releases, and you just embed all of that into that page on, which is essentially a post on your G site. And now you don't, that's massive amount of content. It's all that relevancy all through iframes. And now you've got a G site page target that you can just hammer with link building with very specific keyword sets for anchors. Does that make sense? And you can push a ton of relevancy into it that way. So anyways, hopefully that answers the question. And you want to comment on that before I wrap it up, Marco, or is that good enough?
No, that's good enough.
Okay. Very good. Those are some great questions today, guys. So thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.